So I'm just going to break down how we are going to structure this last block for our basketball teams this off season. So the way we're structuring this 4-day split, we're going to go slow force, high force, fast force, slow force. So starting with the slow force, you can think of this day as a day for health and a day for hypertrophy and like building our armor. So we're always going to start this day off with some sort of like isometric, something that we're specifically trying to target our tendons with. Then we'll go one lower body movement that's either going to be a more global, heavy isometric or some sort of full range of motion, say squat pattern. From there, from the upper body, the mindset that I bring to this is we're trying to develop some armor on the upper body. So it's a lot of high volume or slow tempo hypertrophy work, okay? Then our high force day, the theme of this day is we're trying to build deceleration capacity and magnitude. So how much of a volume of deceleration we can handle and how high of forces of decelerations can we handle. So this banded complex is just essentially like a warm-up prep of a band like pulling us into these deceleration positions. So when we decelerate, we're always shifting ourselves forward. So the band is going to do that for us, and we're just going to spend time in those positions to be more comfortable there. This every rep different alternating drop lunge, it's just to expose ourselves to some variety. So in sport, we're never going to be loading our tissues in just like this up and down manner or even just this perfect side to side. There's always going to be different angles that we're going to be striking the ground at. So we're trying to expose ourselves to that there. And then our depth drop, so that's the magnitude of high forces that we're trying to take on. So we can hit up to 10,000 newtons of force from a depth drop. So we're just doing that to make sure that we can actually handle and have the capacity to take on those really high forces. We go squat variation of choice right now. I like choice because athletes are away for the summer. I don't know what type of equipment they have access to for the most part. So it just gives them a little bit of that autonomy to decide how to build out their program themselves while giving them some guidance. Then from an upper body standpoint, I kind of see this upper body work sometimes a bit more strength versus the higher volume upper body on these slow force days. And then this chin up drop catch is just to take on some of those more deceleration positions from an upper body standpoint as well. A little bit of core, a little bit of movement variability, and then this 10 by 10 is where we're trying to get some volume in our deceleration work. Into our fast force day, so this is our speed development day. So it's going to be all of our sprinting and plyometric work here. So starting off with just a mixture of some running drills and some extensive plyometrics to just accumulate some ground contact volume, but also build some rhythm, some motor learning of how to interact with the ground. Sometimes I like going like no shoes on that, so we're actually developing some strength at the foot, some awareness, some proprioception at the foot. Then we just ramp up the intensity of those plyometrics a little bit. So after this more rhythmic light stuff, we're going to go more like medium or high or ping tier plyometrics. So lateral bounds and regular bounds, where we're trying to clear as much distance as we can with each bound. These shuffle shuttles, just to get a little bit more volume in these shuffle patterns. So like in basketball, when we're playing defense, a lot of the time it is these side to side shuffles. So just making sure that we're getting some high intensity shuffling in as well. This 10 plus 10 is our main speed stimulus of the day. So it's a 10 meter build into a 10 meter fly, okay? And then continuing on that speed development or like power emphasis of these lifts. So it's trap bar jump, so a loaded jump variation, then to an unloaded, and then a little bit of accessory work at the bottom there. So some unilateral strength, a little bit of core, and then we're just accumulate some more ground contacts and some more volume with some deep tier work. Slow force day. We're always going to start our slow force days with local tissue prep again. What I'm trying to do here is be as efficient as possible and kill two birds with one stone. So we're doing kind of these combo exercises. So this is a single leg wall sit where we're going to drive the knee forward. So it's a more aggressive knee angle. But then I also, because of that, the athlete is going to be in a bit of a heel elevated position. So hopefully we're going to get kind of some calf with that as well. And then same idea with this single leg roller bridge plus calf. When you're doing this movement and you're in this bridge and your foot's on the roller and you actually lift into a bit of a calf raise, you get a really good contraction at the co-contraction of the hamstring and the calf at the same time, okay? Then we're gonna go to some rear foot elevated split squat or some Bulgarian. So this is like nice time under tension, so slow eccentrics on this unilateral strength work. So a bit of a hypertrophy stimulus. trying to target the tendons a little bit with these slow controlled heavy lifting, some core to go along with that. We have our main posterior chain movement at the back end of this week because I just don't want to have some beat up hamstring, especially going into these fast force days, so that's why I had it later. Then again, same theme as on that first day, so just a little bit of upper body hypertrophy, armor development, and then I giving them some arms of choice, so whatever bicep, tricep, and shoulder variation that they want to do. Again, I like to give them a little bit of autonomy so they feel like they can take some ownership over their program. And then we're going to do some sort of assault bike interval to make sure that we're still getting a little bit of conditioning in throughout the week. A lot of these basketball players are doing a lot of individual skill work and pick up basketball throughout the summers, so I don't feel the need to be giving them a ton of conditioning, but I do want to at least give them something just so we know that we're going to at least be checking that box at least once a week.